folks, welcome to an all-new episode of So Bad It's Good. This is your pal Ryan, and this is your Saturday episode. We skipped Thanksgiving on Thursday, so we are doing a Saturday episode. This is a Southern Charm recap, episode 2. I'm not sure if you even watched it yet because it aired the night before Thanksgiving, but it's there, baby, and we're going to talk about it. Man, these boys with toys, because that's what it is. Southern Charm is just a bunch of grown men with toys, just growing older together. Like they were at the beach, and I just thought the old man in the sea has nothing on these Southern Charm men. It is wild. And then you got Sally Carson, who is starting to become the ultimate pick-me. It is just insane. Anyways, we're going to talk about that today. We're going to have some fun. It is Friday night. I got to tell you, folks, this was the 4th meal in a row. We've just had huge meals, including Thanksgiving, but we went out to a really nice restaurant, or an old school restaurant called Musso and Frank's in Hollywood. It's been around for 105 years. And so my dad and Rebecca's mom and Rebecca, we all went, and that restaurant has so much history, not just in terms of Hollywood, but when my uncle was alive, he used to live in like Glendale, California. We would go with my uncle. I've been there with my grandma, rest in peace, and we've been there on so many family dinners. So it was great to take Rebecca's mom, and it was really nice. But my God, you guys, I gotta get these parents out of town because I just keep eating. I just want to go back to not eating. And you could say, "Oh, you don't have to eat." Are you kidding me? When this food, I can't say no to this stuff. And then we got these Thanksgiving leftovers, which I haven't even touched. I gotta move to another country and change my name or something like that. I mean, I'm on this health journey, and I've had a big setback this week, folks. A big setback. I'm trying not to feel too guilty about it. I went on a hike today. Anyways, you didn't hear. You want to hear me make fun of Craig Conover, don't you? Anyways, how was your Friday? Can you believe it feels like it's Sunday? Like I'm like all out of sorts. I guess you had Black Friday today. And it's so cute. We got a bunch of outfits for the baby, and it's like, once again, I told you, it's like, this is really happening. I know you're like, dude, everybody has babies, but you got to understand, I never thought this was possible. I just didn't think this was in the cards for me, and for us. And, I couldn't be more excited. The crib got here today. And now I got to figure out how to put together a crib, but I've got like 4 months. I've got like 4 more months to figure out how to put that crib together. But it is baby central over here. And it's baby central tonight on this recap because we're talking about the men of Southern Charm. We're talking about the men of Southern Charm. Oh, by the way, folks, next week, we've got an insane week. We got Real Housewives of Beverly Hills returning. We've got the reboot of Vanderpump Rules. And I'm just begging you guys. I'm begging you to give this show a chance. I mean, I'm not begging. You can watch it or you don't have to. I watched the first episode. I really enjoyed it. But I just think what a huge mistake. Like, it just sucks that it's called Vanderpump Rules because people are going to be so fucking annoying about it. They're just going to be like, this isn't like the old No shit, it's not the old Vanderpump Rules. We will never be able to have the old Vanderpump Rules. And even if you had another season of Vanderpump Rules with that old cast, we are so into influencer star territory with that old cast that you will never see a real moment ever again. You would never be able to see it in that configuration. You're kind of able to see it with the Valley because for some reason they've interjected, new people into that with keeping the older people, but also showing the shortcomings of this kind of low level or mid-level success. And so I find the Valley really fascinating because it asks a different question than Vanderpump Rules did, where you're all wasted and drunk in your 20s working at a bar, and then now they're in their 40s and they're having kids and settling down and they're still miserable. So it's a completely, it's not aspirational. It is one of what I think the first non-aspirational reality television shows in existence, and I celebrate that. I mean, that to me is great. And that's why I worry about like people like Lala coming to the Valley, because I don't know if she's ever had a truly real moment on reality television. I think she's probably had more real moments on her podcast than she has on television. So I personally am like, well, just don't ruin the depressing vibe that you have set forth so far. So I'm on one already. I'm so sorry. Rebecca, it's 10:30 at night. She just watched this Southern Charm episode with me, and I tried to bribe her. I try to bribe her into recapping it with me because, listen, I spend all my time with her anyways, and it's so much fun to watch these shows with her. And you've gotten to know her now a little bit with the Dancing with the Stars. And she said if it wasn't so late, she would do it. So I think Rebecca, if we're all nice to her, is going to come start recapping Southern Charm with me because, and by the way, I'll give you what Rebecca said during these scenes while I recap it. I'll tell you what she said. And I got to tell you, I come off like a sweetheart compared to Rebecca. I mean, Rebecca was like, just nailing every character. It reminds me of in the old days. Like she was just going to town. It was so fucking funny. But I guess we have to let her sleep and take care of the baby and all that stuff. But so it's just me and you guys. There are so many things and news stories happening in Bravo and pop culture right now. I'm going to save a lot of those for the pop culture roundup. Remember, today at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we're doing a live Patreon, patreon.com/so bad it's good. Nothing says the holidays like a Patreon subscription. It's like $5 a month, or I think you can get a whole year for $55. I'm not sure if that's the case, but there are I hate selling myself. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like I hate advertising myself, but there's so many episodes you've never heard. We've recapped entire seasons on there. If you want more of me, even though there's so much me, it's there. So I love that I sound so if you want more, if you are dumb enough to want more than me, it's over there. Okay. What else do you want from me? Oh, here's, listen, speaking of Vanderpump Rules, you know how much I love that theme song, and I'm not going to play it right now, but I do want, this is like not a close second, but I would say it's in my top 5 of reality show jingles. It is Mia Sable singing It's Easy, the theme song of Southern Charm. Now, this is not as hip as Raise Your Glass from Vanderpump Rules, but it gets the job done. I find myself humming this in the shower. I'll be in very dark moments in my life, and then I'll be like, ba-ba-doo, ba-ba-dee-dee-dee. So let's listen to this together. Okay, that is good, man. I was trying to get myself a little more awake because my body is still processing a massive amount of food, and I think that might have done it. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm wearing my official Craig Conover merch. A storyteller hat that he sells at Sewing Down South. I got it at BravoCon because I interviewed him that Sunday, and his people were happy with the interview I did. And then they were like, take a hat. And I was like, it's like me, like at a restaurant, like I'm not going to not eat. So I'm going to take the Craig Conover hat. And I kind of like it. Oh my God. Did you see Brittany Bateman from Salt Lake City? She posted on Instagram with her and Jared Osmond. And I love everybody. Everybody's like, oh no, come on, Brittany. What the hell, Brittany? And I just wrote, I love love. I love love. Listen, whatever Brittany does, she needs to learn to make those mistakes. She's going to have to learn the hard way. And if it turns out good, that's great. But my God, I mean, this truly isn't for the show. There is a sickness with this couple. They are like dirty magnets. They just can't stay away from each other. And there is something so interesting that they want us to be a part of it. They want us to watch their love. They want us to watch their sickness. I think they're masochists. I think they get off on us making fun of them. So I'm not going to make fun of them. I mean, I'll make fun of them right here to you guys, but I'm not going to make fun on their social media posts. Don't. That just encourages them. That gives them the engagement that they so desire. I just suggest everybody go, oh my God, you're so cute, because they'll get tired of it then. Once we are fully in support of that relationship, they'll totally break up. But if we rail against them, we are bringing them closer together. Don't you understand? It's like when your parents told you not to date somebody in high school. You're like, well, now I'm definitely going to date him. You can't control my love, Mom. That's what is happening right now. So the more we rail against it, we're just making that happen more. Don't you see that? Don't you see that? Also, I think I told you earlier, yeah, we did that Salt Lake City recap yesterday. I know it's a little crazy because of the holidays, so hopefully go check that out if you can. And right after this commercial break, we will start the Southern Charm recap. Happy you're here today, guys. And we're back. back. I just took about a 10-minute break, and I was on Instagram, as I am wont to do, and I don't see so many DMs. And if you've tried to DM me and I haven't opened it or seen, and I'm so sorry, because I think people have like, people must think I'm such a dick, but it is I get overwhelmed really quickly. Like, I can open 3 or 4 and then I'll get really overwhelmed. My mind, I don't know. Anyways, you guys know about that at this point, but if you tried to, I sincerely apologize. But I had just gotten this really beautiful message from, I don't know if I'm Janine. And she said, she was with her mom as her mom is making that final transition. Yeah, yeah. You thought I was going to be talking to Southern Charm, but I just read this and I wanted to share this with you guys, is that her mom was making that final transition into the afterlife. And she was saying that she was thankful that I think I had been very open with what I'd gone through with mom a couple of years ago. And I read those, first off, Janine, I don't think you're listening, but man, we are all putting a thought out there for your beautiful mom. And I think holidays, I don't know if you've listened to the past couple of days, but I've been really surprised at how much I've enjoyed this Thanksgiving. And there is a guilt in that. I don't know if you've ever felt that about loved ones not being here, because we've had a handful of holidays since mom is gone. And I remember the first Christmas a couple of years ago, first Christmas after mom left. That was the hardest for so many reasons. That was really one of the hardest experiences that I've ever been through, that holiday in particular. And I didn't really share a lot about that holiday, but that was hard. I was like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. I was like, I don't know if I can I don't know. Like, I don't know. Do we not do holidays anymore? And, 2+ years after, it just is different, obviously. Right. And I think one of the things that I found helpful is that I've been hearing her voice, not her talking to me, but I can conjure her up, I can hear her. And I think when I used to do that after she passed, it was very hard for me to do that. It was it would hurt. It would hurt, And now I've found it to be comforting in this last couple of months. I've mentioned this before, is that I can feel her and I can hear her in a sense. And it doesn't take the place of wanting her here, because that would obviously be the best. And there are so many memories and experiences that I know she wanted to be a part of, especially all the stuff we have coming up next year. And that's all so hard for so many reasons, right? But so many people go through this or will go through this. And it's like, it doesn't get easier. You just, you learn to get through it, or you learn to accept it, or you try to find some sort of beauty in it. And then, it's like all of us, we are the ones left behind in a sense, so I'm with my dad and I'm absorbing still the pain that he goes through. We were watching Planes, Trains, and Automobiles the other day. And at the very end, John Candy, you find out that his wife had been, had passed away like 8 years ago, and Steve Martin finds that out. And you can see John Candy is such a brilliant actor in that moment. You can just see this pain on his face, and Steve Martin realizing. And I remember, I was just sitting next to my dad watching this, and I looked over at my dad and I didn't ask him, but I saw, like you could feel his pain in that. Because that's what'll happen. You'll be watching TV, or you'll hear a song, or, and there's so many things that remind me about my mom, or maybe reminds you about your loved one that you've lost. So many of those moments, right? And it can really be hard, because it can just take you out of a moment that you might be enjoying. And then I've learned to start accepting, well, those are beautiful gifts in a sense, right? Because you're able to still be here and still trying to put forth some kind of output that would make your loved ones proud. And for my mom, that's me talking about these Southern Charm guys. No, I don't know. Like, there is this weird guilt, right? There's this like survivor's guilt that you sometimes feel. And then if you do have a good time at something, you're like, oh God, should we have had a good time? I mean, these are thoughts I probably you shouldn't even say out loud, but I just read this DM. And sometimes, it's like so many people reached out about my mom that I never got back to. And I still have so much guilt about that, but I'm really good with guilt. I was raised Catholic. And because, I would go to write somebody back that they had sent me a beautiful message, and I would go to write back and I would realize I had nothing I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to write, and, I still feel that, like, I can jabber on about these yahoos on reality television or about how stupid I am in my normal life. But when you try to put into words, like, thank you, and that's what I'm saying. If that was you and I never got to get back to you, just thank you. It didn't go unnoticed, but sometimes your heart can be hurting so much that it makes it like you kind of get frozen, if that makes sense. But anyways, Janine, if you're listening, you're probably not, because you're with your mom on her final journey. I am thinking of you, and now hopefully we are thinking of you. And it's not that we're not going to have a good time from here on out, but I just wanted to say this podcast can sometimes be more, and it has been more than just this silliness, which is my favorite, is when it's silly. But I also want to recognize, going into the holidays, that we have a lot of these moments coming up, and we can honor our loved ones that are not here with us anymore by realizing that they still are here with us in so many ways, and that life does go on, but that doesn't mean we're ignoring the past or ignoring them. It's just that is, that's life, right? Okay, I'm going to take another break. Okay, bop-a-doo, bop-a-dee-dee-dee. We're back, baby, and we're sillier than ever. This is season 11 seasons of Southern Charm, episode 2. We recapped episode 1 last weekend, and Peacock gives us this description, which just shows you the people at Peacock took the holidays off, because this is the description they give us to let us know what this episode is about. Here we go. The episode is called Making Waves, because they're at the Charleston Beach, and this is the description. A view of modern Southern aristocracy in Charleston, South Carolina. That's the description for this episode. What I love when people are asleep behind the wheel at Peacock. You're like, fuck it, just put a view of modern Southern aristocracy in Charleston. Yeah, just put that, man. Let's go. Hey, let's finish up this Thanksgiving meal. We do not need to write the description for the people. Come on, man. Let's just get back to partying, dude. Yeah, but so that's what they gave us. So not a lot of clues there. But what we've set up from last week's episode is this Vanita, it's like she's a good person, but she's almost too good of a person, where she's going to keep getting walked all over, and she's going to keep getting her feelings hurt. And Vanita has like the toughest role on the show, because in some ways it's like, girl, you are the innocent one. You're like Sandy at the beginning of the movie Grease, and it's like eventually you want that moment with Benita where she's in like tight leather pants smoking a cigarette, and John Travolta's like, Sandy, what? Like you want that moment, and it's not going to come. This JT from last season, he moved to Bali. He's that like, what a weak dude that guy is. He moved to Bali. And like after he messed around with Vanita and messed around with her head, and now Sally's all getting buddy with her because, they're on a show together. And this Sally, at a drop of a hat, wants to get into Craig Conover's butthole so deeply that she's like, you got to make up, Vanita, you got to make up with Craig. And it's not because you want them to be friends. It's because you want to feel less guilty about boning Craig Conover. That's what you want. We also realize in this episode, Craig Conover has zero game. It's hard to talk about this season without talking about Paige DeSorbo. And this is why you've got to really celebrate Paige DeSorbo in a sense, because she was so fucking smart to not do Summer House. Because listen, in my mind, I'm like, Paige did not feel nearly as bad as Craig looks like he's feeling on this season. But we will never know, because she was smart enough not to show herself on reality television where she would have to speak about this damn same fact, right? But Craig's out there just like, you can tell he is lost. This man is lost at sea. And when he's alone, you know those voices get to him like, oh my God, oh my God. And that's why he's always got to be out. That's why he's got to get his frat butt brothers back. He's got to get Corey Kiefer and be like, smell my fart, that kind of thing. Frat shit. And he's got to be hooking up with girls and like sewing pillows and the whole jam. But you know this guy is barely keeping it together. Barely. And the thing that would fascinate me, which we will probably never see on this show, is the dark nights of the soul that this man has by himself when he goes home. You know, it's like he probably wisely is surrounding himself with as many goofballs as possible, but that's the life he wanted to shed because he saw a different life with Paige. And now he's back having to hang out with Shep and Austin and Whitney. And it's not like they're like horrible to hang out with, but it's a life that he saw past because of Paige. And now he's back there and he's trying to remind himself of, okay, I got the pillow shit. I can be a CEO. I got this. Don't blow it, Craig. Don't blow it. He's got girls wanting to hook up with him because girls aren't his problem. He's going to have girls and guys throwing themselves at him nonstop. But it's not what he wanted. He was already checked into the next realm of life. He was into the let's raise children phase and get married. He wasn't in let's hang out with Corey Kiefer again for a year. You know what I'm saying? So you have to give him a little bit of my favorite housewives term ever, grace in these scenes. And he is going to act like he has two left feet. He's going to have no game. He's going to need constant adulation and saying like, am I still cool? Do I still got it? He needs that. And I just keep thinking about Paige because we don't know the first thing about what she went through. And I'm not trying to be disparaging to Paige like she didn't feel anything because I'm sure she did. But the point is she doesn't have to share it with us goofballs. There's beauty in that. There's strength in that. And Craig knows if you go on reality television, he's one of those people of like, you got to share it all, warts and all, you know, and now he has to share his warts with us. God, that sounds like a bad STD commercial. Sitting here wondering why I'm in a better mood this week, and I think it's because Real Housewives of Orange County is off the air finally. I was like, maybe that's all it took was just Orange County being gone, where I'm like, I'm kind of hopeful right now. Anyways, we start off this episode of Southern Charm, and they do the, you know, like catch up from last week. You know, you got the Vanita Craig thing, you got the Craig's getting back into the single life, and then Corey Kiefer came and it was hitting on Molly. And Molly was crying because she got a little tipsy and skipped band practice, which is like, you know, and also she lost her snake, but the snake is back. And we start off with a bunch of round robin scenes and we dip into Molly's place. She's feeding her snake. And I was like, just so thankful that Corey Kiefer wasn't there with her. I thought she was going to have to feed two snakes. And then we have like Shep and he's like waxing his surfboard. And Rebecca was like, where the fuck are they going surfing? But you can surf in Charleston. It's obviously not a surfer's delight. And then we go over to Miss Patricia's, and Miss Patricia's like, Whitney, there's a big package. Could you please bring it in? And Whitney comes in of like, yeah, Mom. But I thought he was going to be like, yeah, I do have a big package. I thought he was going to make a dick joke, but he didn't. Thank God, because that's classier, and you don't treat your mom or Miss Patricia that way. But when he's like, it's heavy, whatever it is, Mom, and she's like, it's a candle, and it's a big silver, it's a big silver alligator. And Whitney seems a little like disturbed by this. She's like, I just thought it was kind of cool. And he's like, Jesus Christ. As soon as I heard this man say Jesus Christ, if I was Miss Patricia, I would have A, spanked him. I would say, you are not too old to get over Miss Patricia's knee. B, I would have been like, you're grounded, or you can't use your man cave out back. You can't use Whitney's lair for a week. You just can't. You will not speak to Miss Patricia that way. No. So then we go over to Sally's house, and this Sally Carson, she is washing her dogs. We know the night before at Madison's baby shower ended in Whitney's lair with Craig, and she was all like, full female boner to hang out with Craig, right? And Vanita was like, so rude, and like left. So we don't know what happened that night, but she's watching her dog. And then this Sally Carson, after this episode, I started looking into her a little bit because I was like, what is Sally's story? And Sally has a really interesting story. And this is not her first foray into reality television. She was on Clayton's season season 26 of The Bachelor, but she made the decision to drop out of the show a couple of hours before limo arrivals on the first episode. And because the arrivals took place on the same weekend when she was supposed to get married. And I guess she ended the engagement. I think there was something hinky going on, but then whatever happened with that engagement was so bad that she decided to turn to reality television. And I watched a film scene where she went and told Clayton she was leaving before the limo arrivals, before she had even met Clayton. So Sally has already been on reality television. And not just that, folks, she then went on the 8th season of Bachelor in Paradise, but she quit in week 2. She quit in week 2. I was not watching Bachelor in Paradise or The Bachelor at that moment. So I was like, whoa. And now she is on Southern Charm. So not that we have to give her grace, but we do have to understand hurt people in a sense. And there has got to be something where Sally in these episodes is starting to read like a giant pick-me, and especially towards the end when she's kind of like fighting with her friend over Craig, where it's like, girl, you are beautiful. You are like, do not do this. Do not do this. You are not setting yourself up for success in relationships at all. At all. So she decides to FaceTime Vanita, and Vanita is like, yo, girl, what did you do? Like, I had to leave the baby shower because I was about to cry over the Craig situation. And Sally's like, my bad. Sorry. And Vanita's like, and Sally's like, I just got really excited and I just ran with it. I just got really excited and I ran with it. I needed male attention and I just ran with it. Vanita says she loves Sally with every fiber of her being, but so help me God, she centers men in a way that I don't understand, which is interesting. And Vanita, I love you, but you should understand because you centered JT that way last season. You centered JT in a way that nobody could understand because everybody thought JT was a wackadoo, and you were the one that like, no, you don't understand how he is behind closed doors. So you should understand a little, right? Now with Sally's talking head, Sally says, I love Vanita. But the issue's between her and Craig. It is not between it. It's like mainly Sally's like, my issue is between Craig and my vagina. That's a whole different issue, right? But she says she feels just in the middle and she's trying to navigate that. And it's really freaking hard. You're only in the middle because you want to hook up with Craig, girl. And then Sally's like, anyways, so, party. I'm thinking about a party, and it's my singles party. It's on Friday, girl, and I have a task for you. I know that I totally ditched your ass, but I'm going to need you to help me decorate it, girl. You need to help pick out the decorations, girl. And so the theme of this, Sally sells singles by the seashore, which should have been the title for this episode, but I guess it's too long. Sally sells singles by the seashore. It's a vocal warm-up exercise. Very cute. I see what you did there. So it's like beach themes, but she goes, I want it to be like frat boy vibes. Why? That's like you're just then accommodating the male gaze once again. I want it to be like frat boy vibes. I want it to be like paddles and like but not like trashy. You know what I'm saying? But Sally says she wants to meet someone that's super single and super cute. And she says she doesn't want to stay single forever. And then she goes, I'm trying not to have sex with just anyone. I've only slept with one person since Andrew. And then we flash back to Andrew from last season, remember? And also, I have a follow-up question. Who's the one person you slept with since Andrew? Anyways, Vanita asks who's coming. And Sally's like, I don't know. I haven't invited anyone, but I need hot men. And how many hot men at this point are in Charleston? I feel like we've seen them all in 11 seasons. Sally says, I know that my actions and words can make people think that I'm not ready to settle down. And we see a string of party shots with Sally, right? And then Sally goes, even my therapist has said you want to be a wife? Act like a wife. First off, horrible therapist. What kind of sexist therapist says you want to be a wife, act like a wife? But then I also thought it would be funny if was that the one person she slept with Andrew since? Was it your therapist? You want to be a wife? Act like a wife. And Sally goes, I'm like, why the fuck would I act like a wife when I'm not a wife? Yeah, only act like a wife once you're a wife. I don't even know what that means. But Sally says, I wish my hot-ass pool man would come. So now we got a hot-ass pool man involved? So it's either Craig or a hot ass pool man. You know this girl's gonna end up hooking up with Shep at the end of the day. But she says she's having fun until she finds that guy, which more power to you, but don't lose your female friends in the meantime. And she says she needs to be out there to find her husband, and she's not gonna find it cooking dinner in her kitchen, right? She says she has too many crushes right now, and she needs to focus on just 4 of them. Which is like she's laughing, but I think she's kind of buttering Vanita up. Like, no, I'm not just into Craig. I'm into men in general. But we know she's got her laser sights on this Craig Conover. So now we're over at Craig's house. And Craig has like a lean body protein muscle milkshake right there. And he looks just Fraggle rocked. He looks like animal. His hair's like everywhere. And he's like just like sitting down in the kitchen. And he's been through it. Like I said, a dark night of the soul. And we meet Jack, Craig's assistant. This Craig's assistant, Jack, this guy is a star. I love this man. If anybody knows Jack, I want him on So Bad It's Good. This man has stories because this man's just like Craig's assistant. He's seen some shit, right? And Craig's like, oh, Jack, it was a long night. And the assistant's like, oh, yeah, you had some fun? He's like, yeah, I guess. In a talking head, Craig says, I hate being hungover. He goes, it was a good time, but I'm not used to not feeling 100% anymore, Jack. He says, I've never had a healthy relationship with alcohol, single, I guess. And now we do once again. I feel like we get a montage of drunk Craig moments every episode now, and we see 3 more moments here. And the show knows, like the show is always going to try to lead Craig to drink because it's weirdly entertaining, which is so sad. Like Craig truly has so many moments in 11 seasons where he's been drunk and freaked out on his castmates, especially women, right? But now we just like see it every episode. They're trying to pull the animal out of Craig. So Craig is commiserating with his assistant, and he says, it's something that I never thought I had to deal with. However, now I'm by myself and kind of sad. Womp womp. I mean, how do I form a connection that doesn't include going out, to the bars? Jack is like, moving along, calendar-wise, coming up, you'll be at the store on Sunday for Mother's Day, and then we go to New York for Better Homes and Gardens Awards. We get back at 10, and then we drive an hour and a half to the warehouse, and then the next week we're at Palm Beach at a home show, and then Aspen Wine and Food. And Craig's like, holy crap, the turnarounds are killing me. And Jack's like, you do it to yourself, Craig. It's an intense schedule. And Craig's like, it's just because like when I'm working is the only time that my mind is quiet now. And Jack's like, yeah, I got it. Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like if you keep yourself busy, you don't have those dark thoughts. Craig lets us know that Jack is like a general contractor, but for my life. No, Craig, he's your assistant. It's not a general. He's just your assistant. He's your assistant. We have a name for it. It's your assistant. Craig goes, Jack, like before, it was like, if I had like an extra day, I was like going to fly to New York, and he's like, yeah, you go to New York and hang out with Paige, and then I would be here waiting for you. And Craig is like, he has been with me every step of the way through this breakup. And then we flash back to Paige where he's like thanking Craig. He's thanking Paige for getting him away from the bottle and that he's not going to go back there. And Paige is like, just know if I ever need to, I'll leave in the middle of the night with the kids. I will. That is such a dark comment from Paige. But Craig goes, and now that I don't have a best friend to like text every day, Austin is somewhere watching this going, fuck you, Craig. Jack is my comfort, like safe place now. Jack better be fucking getting a huge Christmas bonus, Craig. He tells Jack, I got to figure out how to be at peace. And Jack's like, I mean, it's been what, like 4 months now? Like, you're going to figure it out, right? Jack realizing all of his eggs are in the Craig Conover basket. He's like, I just want a spinoff of Jack and Craig at this point. I was like, I need more Jack. I need more Craig's assistant. Okay, so we get out of there, and now Molly is going over to Madison's house to help her inventory her baby shower gifts, right? That's nice of Molly. I like the juxtaposition of Madison's beautifully immaculate house compared to Molly's hoarder house. And, like I love Molly. I think she is so great. I really do like Molly, but I just think it is so funny. And then Molly's talking about like how she never wants kids. She's like, I can't imagine taking care of something that's like covered in shit, like that doesn't let me sleep. And it's like, girl, yeah, you would lose that fucking kid like you lost your snake. What do you like? Don't worry. You're fine. You're fine. Just don't even put it out of your head. So they're going through these gifts and like seeing the little blankie that Craig sewed for her, with all the patchwork on that. And then Madison's like, y'all went out after the baby shower, right? And Molly goes, I didn't want to because I had spiraled myself into a hole of despair and sadness. And then we flash back to that scene where she's like, I just feel bad that I let my band down. They're never going to let me back in. And Corey's like, chill out, girl. Chill out, girl. You're here to touch my penis later. Come on. And then we see that her on a call with her band leader where she's like, I just want to profusely apologize. And the guy's like, we were able to shift it around. It was a problem that you didn't let us know in enough time that we couldn't do a whole lot about it. And she says it's never going to happen again. So that's good. She did not got kicked out of the band. I was like worried about that last week, but Madison's like, it's fine. You're human. Madison, she's pregnant right now. She's about to burst. So Madison's like, her function on this show is to just stir shit in a sense, right? She's just pushing all of these other people to potentially make bad decisions. And you see that at the end of this week's episode. Molly also says about Corey, she says, hey, I know Sally ended up like late night hanging with Craig. And Madison's like, oh, bingo. Now we got a show. Madison's like, well, shit on Shinola. And Molly goes, yeah, because she was like, we were in the pool till late. And I was like, at Patricia's or your house? And she's like, Craig's. So they went from Whitney's lair to Craig's pool that night. And Molly goes, I was like, oh, that wasn't even one of the options that I asked about, but fun. Especially since Sally said, and then we flash to another scene in Sally's kitchen where Sally's like, I'm a girl's girl. I love Audrey, and Audrey's Austin's current girlfriend. I love Audrey, but my personality fits with Austin very well. And Molly goes, oh my God. And Sally goes, I mean, would I hook up with Austin? The day after they break up. Let's go. Molly goes, let's go. And Roddy and his boyfriend are in there like, let's go. So this Sally, she is dangerous, man. She is one of those girls you cannot trust around your man, on top of not a girl's girl, which leads me to believe that Sally is going through something very dark in her personal life. And Molly says, if I was Audrey and I found out that Sally said that, I'd be like, bitch, I'm going to fucking fight you, bitch. And Madison's like, should we try to make a bet like who's going to bang who? And I have a feeling that Sally's going to bang Austin and Craig this season. Dark stuff. So now we're at the beach of Charleston, and Shep is taking his boy Austin to go surf. And Austin doesn't have a surfboard, so Shep brings his, and they're going to catch some waves. And then we're introduced to a new character, Whitmer. Whitmer, who Shep says he has known for 10 years. And he's like, we're both fond of outdoor activities. And we see that they went hunting the week before. We like to shoot animals together. Like amazing. We see them like hunting. And then Shep's like, his family's from Columbia. My dad's family's right down the road in Camden. And then Whitmer has his first talking head, and Whitmer's like, our family here in South Carolina, we go back to the Revolutionary War, which would be a great Southern Charm prequel. And they're probably just like still the same goofy men in the Revolutionary War. But Whitmer says, we have some biggish names. Shep will tell you about all this, whether or not you're listening. And then a flash of Whitmer and Shep saying, we're from the same cloth, Whitmer. We're Boykin County people. Yeah, we're Boykin County people. Shep goes, we got lots in common. And Whitmer says, I don't have a trust fund, and I have a job, and I have to work. So there's a big difference right there. And then Shep's like, and he went to law school with Craig. And then we see a picture of young Whitmer and young Craig Conover. And Whitmer says, yeah, we took the bar exam together. He was 2 years ahead of me, but I passed it first. I mean, has Craig, Craig did finally pass the bar, but I love that we're 11 seasons in and we're still meeting male characters that are friends with these goofballs. You know, it's like, you're like, wow. So it's like, we're just seeing people that weren't good enough for the first 10 seasons of Southern Charm. Like, they've depleted their male friendship groups. And now we're like, fuck, should we get that Whitmer guy on here? Like, I love that we just keep cycling through male friends every season, and some like stay and some don't. It is so like, Whitmer, most likely you're going to be one and done, but it's great to meet you, bud. So then we go into a surfing montage where Austin cannot catch a wave for the life of him. And Shep loves when his friends are not as good at something as he is. He loves it. He loves for his friends to fail at physical activities or activities in general. Southern Charm, I think, might be the one reality show, I really think about this, that I would love, that I would love to see if reality star fame didn't happen to any of these dudes, what their life would be like right now. Like, I mean, I feel like it's helped some of them. It's held others back. Like, I somehow feel like Austin would have a completely different life. And maybe, I would be so curious. Like, you know, Real Houses of Beverly Hills, those shows, I'm like, yeah, well, they'd figure it out. But Southern Charm is the one that I'm so curious, if they did not have this show, what they would be like. Anyways, they're having a shot and a beer. That's the normal thing. Hey, man. Hey, we're in our 40s. Let's do a shot and a beer after surfing. And Austin's like, I want to know what happened after the baby shower, Shep. And Shep's like, so okay, we go to Craig's. It's me, Corey, Craig, and Sally, all right? We get in the hot tub, and Corey kind of, you just feel like we all took our dicks out, man. No, we get in the hot tub, and Corey kind of disappears. And so we're talking and banter, and it's good. It's good banter. But I look down at my phone. It's getting late. I look down at my phone like I'm just fucking scrolling Raya like a madman. I go inside to call an Uber, and I was like, I'll just leave Craig and Sally alone, right? I was like, maybe it'll happen. You know, Shep's like telling this like he's all happy, but at the time he was like, I thought I had a shot with Sally. And Austin goes, I saw Sally's text exchange with Craig. And he's like laughing, and Shep's like, what was it? And Austin's like, yeah, he texted her like, that was fun. And we see Craig's text where Craig goes, that was fun at 4:12 a.m. on Sunday, May 4th. And then Sally writes, yeah, it was. I should have stayed. And then Craig goes, yeah, you could have if you wanted. And then Sally writes, you could have if you wanted. And then Sally writes, I did want. Invite me to stay next time. Sleep well. See you next week. Invite me to stay next time. It was 4:12 in the fucking morning. Oh my God. And so Austin's, kind of relaying this to Shep. And they're all like, what? Craig fucking boned out? And for me, just in all honesty, that's how I used to text. Like, I was not, it was, every time I tried to be cool, I ended up making a fool of myself. But that, I was like, I didn't see anything wrong with this. Obviously she wanted more, but Craig was being, I don't know, a sort of a gentleman, right? And Austin's like, he doesn't have a killer instinct. That's good, Austin. It's good. Or maybe that's bad. Maybe you ladies are like, no, you got to have that killer instinct. But no. And Shep's like, he doesn't have that killer instinct. And Austin's like, he never will. And they're like, Jesus, man, fucking poor Craig. And Shep's like, he's just not that aggressive of a dater. And then in Austin's talking head, Austin's like, Craig's a pussy. Full vagina. Shep goes, Craig had every chance to hook up with Catherine back in the day because she wanted to hook up with him. Talking about old Catherine, the old cast member, right? And we flash back to Craig saying that he has a little schoolboy crush on Catherine. And Shep goes, yeah, And Catherine came over to my house like on the third night that they had hung out after he never tried anything. And we tried things. And then he laughs and like goofball. Catherine is like a mess. I mean, not just because of this show, but I think you saw, if you go back and watch that journey of Catherine, it is so dark with Ravenel and all these guys just passing her around. And it's nothing that we should be laughing about. We tried things. I mean, I'm sorry. I see Craig's thing. Like, yeah, like, I don't know. Let things happen naturally. If you're, oh, God, killer instinct. Gross. And then Whitmer joins in. The best way to get over somebody is to, and they're all like, yeah, right, brother. Get under somebody. You get it? Fuck them. Yeah. By the way, I apologize for all the language. I know this is a family show and you're probably all with your families right now listening together. So my bad. Anyways, now Venita is meeting up with Rodrigo and Sally to pick out party decks, right? Sorry, Sally isn't in this scene, but they actually call her, like, so she can give them what she wants for the decorations. But she says that Craig is invited to this singles party. And Vinny's like, oh, and Sally's like, we just had so much fun on Saturday. I was in Craig's hot tub till 4 a.m. I had prune fingers everywhere, man. Pruny everythings. And Sally's like, we were just doing shots. And Vinny's like, that's great. But Sally, And then Sally's like, oh, wait, you all have beef. I keep forgetting. How do you keep forgetting? That's the fucking storyline. Even Rodrigo's like, oh, my God. Oh, my God. And then Sally's like, Benita, I'm not like going after Craig. If my vagina falls on his dick, that is not my fault. But Rodrigo's like, great. Okay. Thank you for everything, Benita, Sally says, and being the best friend that you are. And Rodrigo's like, oh, my God. I love you so much, girl. And they get off the phone and Rodrigo's like, I mean, that is crazy behavior. How does that make you feel? And Venita's like, not good. Rodrigo's like a really good person, but he can actually be kind of brutally funny as well. And Venita's just kind of a good person where I feel like she'll keep getting taken advantage of. And Venita says, I feel like I would be childish to be like, oh, you can't talk to him. You know what I mean? And Rodrigo's like, I don't know. I mean, I just hope that there isn't a moment in the future where it's you versus Craig again. Oh, I can guarantee there will be many moments in the future. And he goes, and Sally sides with Craig over you. Rodrigo already sees the future. This man is an oracle. And Venita's like, over me? No. Venita says, Sally would never do that to me. And that's when I'm like, is Venita stupid? Like, she can't be, she has to realize. Rodrigo in a talking head says, I find that very fucking hard to believe. Maybe I could be wrong. Maybe Sally's not interested in Craig. And if that's the case, I will eat one of his fucking pillows. Oh, that would be a good episode. And he tells Venita, listen, I get it. You don't want to lose your friendship, but I just don't want you to get hurt. Okay? Very tense. So now we got a storyline. It's happening, folks. So now we move over to Austin and his relationship with Audrey, who lives in Charlotte. And so it's a long drive. And it seems like she usually makes the drive to Charleston, but he's on the phone with her and she's so annoyed about this drive because of all this traffic. And the producer asks Austin, haven't you guys ever talked about moving in together? And he's like, no, man. I love when she's in town. And then when she leaves, I like my alone time. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, I love long distance. I fucking love it, dude. Like, he loves it too much. Where it's, it's like, it is weird. And they're both like, they're deep, or he's at least deep into his 30s. So it is, you're kind of like, oh man, how does none of those conversations come up about moving and the future? And like, I mean, does she try to bring it up or does she know not to bring it up? Because she doesn't seem like a lunatic. She seems really actually nice and normal. So I don't know how that works. I have a scene with Sally. She has this like nice beach house from VRBO and they're like setting up with Rod and Venita, and Rodrigo's like, who are you making out with tonight, Sally? And Sally's like, I don't know. And it's like kind of awkward with Venita. She's like, there's no harm in kissing. Like, we'll just see how the night goes. But she doesn't say Craig's name, but there's like a lot of weird looks happening, which is obviously done in editing, but they're, making us know that everybody thinks it's potentially Craig. And then we go to Craig's place and Craig's getting ready and he calls Corey Kiefer, his dog. And Craig's like, what's up, dude? And Corey's like, what's up, dog? What's up, dog? Hey, we're both single talking to chicks, dude. And then Craig goes, I got us Listerine spray in case we're kissing anyone. And Corey's like, I swear to God, if I see you squirting that shit in your mouth, Craig. And Craig's like, yeah, Corey, if I look at you across the beach and then I smile at you and I spray the Listerine, oh, dude, oh, fraternity's forever, dude. We're going to be young forever. Never say die. And then Audrey's in town and they're packing to leave Austin. They're going to be at the beach party as well. So Audrey's going, like Audrey's, and Audrey's like, what is this party? Sally's selling singles. What is this? And Audrey's like, why are we going? Are we even invited? Cause they're not single. And Austin's awkwardly laughing. We go back to the beach house. Everybody's getting set up. There's like a bartender. There's a DJ. They're fluffing the pillows down on the beach. This seems like it would be a cool party. The thing with this party, though, too, for like a singles party, you really only saw the main characters. You saw a couple extra people, but I was like, I feel like we could have done better with inviting single dudes. We should have invited some of the Southern Hospitality dudes, right? And then we have a new character. We have Charlie. Charlie is this like beauty queen that is Sally's friend because I guess their exes used to be friends. Sally and this Charlie girl's exes used to be friends and they've remained friendly since. But she's a very pretty girl. And all of a sudden I was like, this is trouble. This is not going to go well. You can already see what's going to happen here, right? Is that Craig's going to go for Charlie instead of Sally and Sally's going to flip out. I could see this the moment she took 2 steps. So Sally says, Charlie is one of my best friends. We met when our exes were best friends. I want to show you the inside, Charlie. She was going through a breakup and I was going through a breakup and we got really, really close. And then Charlie at first, in her first talking head, I was like, oh my God, her voice is cracking me up, which she didn't have the same voice the rest of it, but her talking head, she was like, she helped me so hard with my breakup. Like, I don't think I could have done my breakup without her. I don't think she got me out of the house and like out of my shell. And so we're kind of like each other's wing women. Like she's a flirt. I'm a flirt. Like we love flirting with everybody. It's fun. Like she had this kind of really manic energy in her talking head. Like we like to flirt. I flirt and you flirt. And it's like kind of fun because we're flirting. Flirt. Anyways, Sally's pointing out that they have burgers and Jello shots. I'd be down there just the burgers the whole time, like just because they're like free burgers. Are you kidding me? We see that there's like a sign and they're like the drinks. You can take a certain colored cup depending if you're single, taken, or it's complicated because we're not grown-ups, right? Whatever, lubrication. So they're up talking and Charlie is saying that Shep slid into her DMs the night before. And, she says, yeah, every time he kind of DMs me, I just like to ask me on a date. I just don't respond. Charlie in a talking head is like, I met Shep at a bar opening and then he like slid into my DMs after that. But it's a little, like, I feel like you're texting your dad a little bit. Oh man, this show, if Shep stays on this show, his ego is going to get so battered and bruised because people are fighting over like Austin and Craig and who knows how this Whitmer is going to fail. But like, Shep is starting to turn into, and this makes me sad because I do like Shep in a sense, but he's turning into that guy that all the girls make fun of for being the one that, stayed at the party too long. And Charlie's like, honestly, my approach to today is to just be approached. Like, I'm not like approaching anybody. And Sally's like, that's a good way to be. But I'm going to want to make out with a specific someone. Like, I think he's hot. And I had fun with him Saturday, but I don't think, and Charlie's like, who are we referring to? What are you talking about? And so I was like, I'm talking about Craig. And Charlie kind of chuckles and Rodrigo nervously drinks his drink. And Sally's like, I think I'm just going to feel it out and see what he's into, see what he's doing. See what it feels, what it feel him out. Rodrigo in a talking head goes, I knew it. I told Vanita this was going to happen. Sometimes you got to let your friends figure it out for themselves. Exactly, Rodrigo. Exactly. You got to let them figure it out on reality television. Point blank, period. So other people are starting to get at this party and Austin gets there with Audrey. Austin sees Charlie and he's like, whoa, Charlie, she's a pretty girl. Wow. He says that in a talking head. He doesn't say that in front of Audrey. But then in the talking head, he goes, but I love my girlfriend. I love my long distance girlfriend. I love my long distance girlfriend that what I am doing, she cannot drive the 4.5 hours to catch me in that moment. Oh, Madison. Austin goes, I don't have any FOMO. Yeah, we don't buy that for a second, Austin. We don't buy it for a second, you dirty bird. And then Shep gets there. Shep's wearing a visor, for the love of God. Can we teach Shep how to dress? It's like Shep is like just loves bold patterns, but like none of them match with any of it. And it's like, man, you're going to have to start. We need like a Queer Eye for the Straight Guy with Shep at some point. And then Whitmer gets there and like, what's up, bro? What's up, bro? This is my girlfriend, Audrey. This is Whitner. Hey, nice to meet you. And Sally's like, Shep, you know Charlie. And Shep's like, of course I do. Of course I do. And then also Shep is not only wearing visors, he's wearing a button-up shirt with lemons. And they're like, we like your lemon shirt, Shep. And Shep's like, I messaged Charlie earlier. She was wearing a lemon dress on Instagram. Yeah, I messaged her about her lemon dress. So the party is in full swing. We see everybody's drinking. There's laughs. Corey Kiefer gets there. Corey is wearing what I would imagine, this, like they used to call them pimps in the 70s. He's wearing like a pimp hat. And I don't think that's the right vernacular, but I'm like talking about the 70s, a pimp hat. And Corey gets there. He's just all decked. He's like in a boy band. Like, you know, like when you're in a boy band and then the boy band breaks up and it's like 2 years after and you see one of the boy band members and they're dressing like a bad boy. That's how Corey Kiefer is dressed. And Craig gets there and Sally immediately is like, Craig. And Craig's like, how are you? And gives her like a side hug. And then Sally kind of holds it a little bit and feels his like kind of touches his forearm a little bit. And Vanita is like totally clocking all of this, you guys. Vanita's watching. And then Craig walks over to Whit and Sally just like giggly, like just still staring at Craig like, oh my God. And she's like sucking on her straw. Hey, Whit, what's going on? It's me, Craig. Good to see you, man. And Whitter's like, haven't seen you in a minute, bro. Cheers. And Craig goes, Whit and I went to the same law school, and I think he was 2 years behind me, so we didn't really hang out a lot, but his sister and I knew each other well, as he has like a devilish smile, and we flash back to 2017 when Shep brought Whitmer's sister, Sarah, as his date. It's all like so fucking flowers in the attic. Everybody's hooking up with everybody. It's like, this is the smallest town ever. And then very pregnant Madison gets there and she's like, what the hell? Ugh. And she immediately just goes to the burgers and just starts eating. Madison's like, oh God, I got to show up to collect a check. Jeez. Molly's talking to Craig and Corey and they're asking how she's doing. I like that Molly is not into Corey. That's what I was so worried about, and it seems like that is donezo. And like Corey's like, have we recovered from the band fiasco? Have we recovered from your fucking stupid band? Never quit your band, Never quit your band, Molly. He's like, what's your instrument again? And he's like, I've told you fucking 30 times, dude. It's a mini tuba. She says, Corey's a fun time, right? But I can't date someone who doesn't know what the fuck a euphonium is. Sorry. Don't ever be sorry, Molly. Keep that energy. And then, of course, they make Sally, they make Molly do a keg stand. And then Rebecca was watching. She's like, that's actually pretty difficult. She did a 10-second keg stand. That's actually pretty good. It's really good. So now Charlie, the new girl, is talking to Whitmer, and Whitmer is single as well, right? And then Craig, Austin, and Shep are watching this, and Craig's like, yeah, I know Charlie. She's like, she's a good-looking girl. And Rodrigo's like, yeah, she's the girl that Shep's been like obsessed with. And Shep goes, the question is, who is Charlie targeting tonight? And then all the guys are looking at each other as we cut to, who's Charlie the question is, who's Charlie's penis does she want, huh? High five. So now they go to the beach area to play some beach games. Austin's like, I want to play beach games, dude. And they go down there. Everybody's going down there and they got a football. And like Sally throws the football. And Austin's like, okay, Sally, dude, she's got a cannon. And Rebecca was watching this. Rebecca's like, no, she doesn't. There wasn't even a spin on that throw, dude. Rebecca was being a big hater about Sally. And Greg's like, hey, Charlie, do you want to do a Jello shot? And Charlie's like, right now? Not particularly. And then Craig goes, well, you have to, because I'm like the number one guy in this group. You have to. I'm like the star of Southern Charm. And Charlie's like, okay. Molly's like, I'll do it. I'll do it. Molly let us know earlier that her nickname in high school was Frank the Tank. Okay, cool, man. Anyways, Austin's like, hey, I want to catch a pass from Sally. And Audrey's like watching this whole thing. And he's like, whoa, good throw. And then Craig's like, hey, girls, do you want to play spike ball or can jam? Do you want to play spike ball or can jam? And Charlie's like, spike ball. And then Craig goes, oh, man, I got to build the spike ball thing. I just want to play can jam. And then Charlie's like, I'll build it, loser. I'll build it. And Craig's like, I think you have to thread the net, though, Charlie. Yeah, like, you should know. You fucking love threading, like, and sewing and shit. You should build this fucking spike ball game easily. I didn't even know what spike ball or can jam was. Vanita says she doesn't know what it is either, and she's never even played beer pong. At least I played beer pong. And Craig's like, oh, my God, there's hooks all around this fucking thing. And he's trying to build it. And Charlie's like, you don't even know how to play spike ball? And Craig's like, I know how to play spike ball. I just don't know how to build it, Charlie. And Charlie knows. She's like, no, the yellow ones go here, Craig. And Craig's like, oh, put the yellow one in the middle of the yellow. Oh, and then that's how you know it's tight enough. And Charlie's like, yeah, what do you know? I told you. And Craig's like, Charlie was right. Good job. And Sally's checking this whole thing out like, oh my God, Charlie is interacting with Craig, my love. And Corey's like, hey, Craig, damn, dude, I appreciate you putting this together for us, dude. And Craig's like, yeah, I definitely did all the work without any help from any of these girls. I'm just kidding, Charlie. And he pushes Charlie like a kid in kindergarten. I'm just kidding, Charlie. Push you. Our little engineer Charlie over here. Sally in a talking head goes, wait, this is definitely flirting, right? With Charlie and Craig? What is going on here? This is karma, baby, because you didn't have girls code last episode, and so now this shit is happening to you right now. So Sally keeps trying to catch footballs. You know, at some point I just thought she was going to take off her bikini to get attention. And Rodrigo and pregnant Madison are like commenting on everybody's bodies. And Corey Kiefer, Corey has a 12-pack. And Madison goes, how jealous do you think Austin is of Corey's nipples? Rebecca loves nipples. Like, she loves a good nipple. She'll comment on she's the one that told me Wes Wilson has meaty nips from Summer House. Rebecca used to be like, dude, that Wes Wilson, meaty nips. And now we see a split screen of Corey and Austin and their nips. And Rodrigo is like, oh yeah, Corey's nips are teeny. And Rodrigo goes, leave those pancakes alone. Austin's got big old pancake nips. And then Madison goes, ooh, see? Little Hershey Kisses nips on Corey Kiefer. And then Rodrigo's like, I mean, he doesn't have no ass from what I can see, but whatever. And Madison's like, I mean, I'm sorry, but I don't want a man with a big ass dong walking around, big ass bottom walking around. Shake what your mama gave you. Ugh. I do love, they're kind of like the Waldorf and Statler from the Muppets, like the people that were just, those two puppets that would just talk shit about the Muppets in the theater. That's who they've turned into. I love it. Anyways, Sally just keeps throwing this football, so desperate. She's like trying to throw like 100-yard throws at this point, trying to impress Craig. Like, Craig, look how far I'm throwing the ball. Ah! And Austin keeps throwing it to her. Audrey's checking it out. But Audrey doesn't seem threatened or weird. She doesn't seem like that girl, which is nice. But Madison's talking to Rodrigo. Madison's like, does she know? Does Audrey know that Sally wants Austin? And then we flash back to that scene we had earlier where she said that she loves Audrey. Sally loves Audrey, but her personality fits Austin very well. And would she hook up with him the day after they break up? Let's go. Let's go. And Rodrigo's like, well, Madison, Sally's like into Craig, though. And Madison's like, what? Yeah, like she's been making these comments about Craig. She's into it. So, yeah, no, she doesn't want Austin. And Madison goes, I mean, if she's into Craig, it's only because he's single, right? That's the only reason. And Rodrigo goes, listen, I love Audrey. I love Audrey. I think they're great together. And Madison's like, well, and you always just forget that Madison and Austin had sex. You sometimes forget it at this point. And then Audrey goes up to Austin and he's like, Pookie, do you want to like throw the ball around? Do you want to throw the football around? Madison says, I think Austin's with Audrey because he knows that's the only way he's like bettering himself. You know, that is a dark thought, but possibly a true thought, right? And if he can keep that bettering himself part 4.5 hours away, he maybe potentially subconsciously is doing it in a way that he can handle, right? But Madison goes, but he still, I think, wants something that's going to light a fire under his ass. Like you, Madison? Anyways, Craig's like, let's play spike ball, dude. Let's play spike ball now that I've set it up. And we see spike ball. I'm not really impressed with spike ball, but I guess you'd have to be there. And Charlie's like going to play spike ball, and Sally's just checking this whole thing out. Like, I can't believe she's playing spike ball with my Craigie. What the hell is going on? So then Craig and Charlie are going to be on a team on Spikeball, and Molly and I'm a grown man going, oh my God, they're on a team on Spikeball, and then Corey Kiefer and Molly are going to be on a team. And then Charlie's like, yeah, I don't even really want to play. And Sally's like, I'll play with Craig. I'll play with Craig. I'll play Spikeball with you, Craig. I'll play Spikeball. And Vanita and Rodrigo is checking it out. And Vanita's like, oh my God, you're right. Sally is totally into Craig. Sally's going to she's going to teeter more towards Craig, as you've opened my eyes to see, you know? And Vanita says in a talking head, I thought that Sally actually meant it when she said that she would put our friendship first. But she does not know what being a girl's girl actually means. Or maybe she just really fucking loves Spikeball. Anyways, Craig is like, we won Spikeball. The Jello shots. We got to do Jello shots. And Sally's like, yeah, man, we got to do Jello shots. As she's like trying to touch Craig as much as possible. And then Whitney shows up, and Whitney shaved off his little mustache from last week's episode. And he has like this kind of yellow zip up. And I don't he's rolling with these like two just random strangers. And remember, Whitney's one of the producers on this. I just love it that he just strolls up, just like a parent checking up on his kids. He's like, what's up, everybody? It's me, Whitney, just checking in. So Corey and Craig are talking, and Corey's like, that Charlie's pretty cute, dude, right? Yeah. Sorry, I just sneezed, bless me. Corey's like, hey, that Charlie's pretty cute. And Craig's like, yeah, Charlie is pretty cute. Did you know this? I was her judge in Miss South Carolina. And then we flash back to 2018 when she was like this beauty queen, like doing like the little walk. And Corey's like, what did you rank her? And Craig's like, I picked her to win, and she got third. But I picked her to win. And then Corey's like, Charlie. And Charlie's like, hey, guys. And Craig's like, hey, Charlie, what place did you get when I judged you in that beauty competition? And Charlie's like, oh my God, you fucked me. And Craig's like, no, I picked you to win, girl. And Charlie's like, I don't believe you, Craig. And Corey's like, that's what he just said. I'm standing up for my bro. And Charlie's like, I seriously don't believe you, Craig. And he's like, I did. And then I never judged again because I was like, what am I doing here? I love that Craig picked Charlie to win, and she took third. And then Craig was like, I can never judge a beauty competition again. I don't know what I'm doing. It's too painful to judge these beauty competitions. But now Sally, after playing Spikeball with Craig, is watching this little limited window with Craig hooking up with him slip away as Charlie is talking to Craig again. It's like she is just like watching this. And then Charlie's like, I love that you picked me. That's like so amazing, Craig. And Sally's like, Craig, we need one more to play. Craig. And Craig's like, it's whatever. Hey, Charlie, you were like literally the best one. And Charlie's like, I know I was. I know. Like, and Craig's like, yeah, the girl that won didn't even do well in nationals. Craig. Sorry, Craig. I love that Craig kept up with the pageant circuit for that girl fucking won, and then she didn't even fucking represent Charleston. She didn't even go on to do good things. What the hell? Sally in a talking head goes, okay, hello, girl code. And she's like, Charlie, over here, Charlie. Are you going to play football? No, come play football. Stop talking to Craig. Come play football. She goes, that's kind of weird. Yeah. Like I said, karma, baby. So most of the crew is playing like touch football, and Audrey and Madison are talking, and Audrey's like, so is Craig and Sally a thing? Or is it, what's going on? And Madison's like, honestly, this is where Madison is so messy. Madison goes, I think Sally's got the hots for Austin. Ooh, earning that paycheck right there. And Audrey's like, what? And you see like cuts of like Austin high-fiving Sally at the football. And Audrey's like, okay, oh, huh. And now Sally is taking a turn because now she's watching all of what was just like touch football, but now could be considered potential flirting as they're high-fiving each other. And Audrey's like, ugh. And Rodrigo walks up. Hey, Rod. And Audrey's like, I got to go get another beer real quick. And Madison and Rod are just sitting there. And Madison realizing she just stirred the motherfucking pot. Craig is just doing Jello shot after Jello shot. And she's like, do you know how to swim, Charlie? And Charlie's like, will you teach me, Craig? Dude, like Craig's diving into the water. It's so sad. Now, Charlie and Craig are like deep in the water, and Shep's like up on the deck watching. He's like, hey, I think I see something. Oh, whoa, there's Craig and there's Charlie. And Whitney's like, is Craig trying to like get in there a bit or what? And Shep's like, what? What? Realizing that he has lost Charlie, even though he never had Charlie, right? And Sally's trying to ride a surfboard, and she just keeps wiping out. And she's like, the waves are way too big. Oh, my God. And Sally's watching Charlie and Craig just have a fun time in the ocean. And she's like, what the fuck? What the fuck is going on? And she takes Rod's drink and just pounds it. And Sally's like, holy shit. I'm going to freak out. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's good. Everything's good. It's fine. It's fine. And they keep talking about how massively Sally wiped out on the surfboard. Like Sally loses her life at her own singles beach party. And Craig doesn't seem to give a shit. And then Sally, or her friend Charlie's like, oh my God, you're like flirting with Craig. And Charlie's like, come on. It was not like that at all. And Sally's like, I mean, I don't care if it is. And Charlie's like, yeah, girl, I know. And I would like tell you if it was, but like, I'm totally not doing that. And she's like, I know you aren't. Like, I love girls talking around. Like, they both don't trust each other at all. And they're like, girl, I know you're for me. Like, totally. I know you're for me. Totally. And like in their talking heads, they're like, and Sally in her talking heads, like, you're so full of shit. Because she knows this game. And Sally's like, I love you, girl. And Charlie's like, I love you. Sally in her talking head goes, I'm not a fucking idiot. Like, I can see when someone's flirting. And they were right in front of my face. What do I have that Charlie has that I don't? And Madison, after stirring all this trouble up, is like, I gotta go take a piss. I gotta go take a poo. Austin's talking to Audrey. He's like, I saw you talking with Madison. How was that? And Audrey's like, yeah. She was like, well, you know, Sally's into Austin. And Austin's like, oh my God. So, first, Austin must be having multiple thoughts. Like, first off, fuck you, Madison. And second off, oh shit, now I have to do damage control. Oh my gosh, that is not true. Then the third thought is like, oh, really? Is that true? Oh my God, that's awesome. He goes, no, Sally likes Craig, babe. Sally likes Craig, and Sally is the class flirt. I love how Austin's like, Sally's like a real whore, babe. Like, that's not even true at all. But like, with that being said, Audrey, I do like her. And Audrey's like, what? He's like, yeah, I mean, like, I could joke with her and play football. And Audrey's like, yeah, it's all well and good. He's like, well, I don't want to think that every time I'm speaking to her that like, and she's like, well, we'll have a breaking point if it goes too far. And Austin's like, whoa, responsibility. He goes, all right, well, all I want to do is like focus on having the best time. Because when you're in Charleston, I feel like it's so great And Audrey's like, but I feel like even when I'm away, I mean, do you think it's a problem? He's like, no, but like when you're here, I feel like we've been dating for 10 years. Like, what does that even mean? And Audrey's like, it's just, I mean, I'd like you to visit Charlotte more. And he goes, I know. It's just more convenient. No, I know. It's just better when I don't make the 4-hour drive. Yeah, no, it's just better when I don't do that, right? And he goes, no, I feel like I'm at an age, babe, where like I want my space and I like my space and I like my stuff. And she was like, this is so bad. And she goes, I just don't want to get to the point where we're like living separate lives. And he's like, yeah, I don't want to live a separate life either, even though he's already living a separate life. And Audrey's like, yeah, then I don't want to question, like, why are we with each other, you know? And he's like, I know. No, I do know. I do know. Like, this is the moment where it's like, oh, they're done. They're done. It's done. He's like, well, anyways, yeah, pull my finger. I'm glad you're here now, right? I'm glad you're here now. And that is where we leave it. And then next week, next time on Southern Charm, and Craig is talking to Charlie at some art place. And he's like, I want to buy a really big picture of a tiger or a penguin or a polar bear. Do you have any of that stuff here? And Charlie's like, no, this is an art place. Are you kidding? And then Austin is eating like seafood with Madison. And Austin's like, am I even supposed to second guess my relationship? And Madison's like, you feel like you're bored. And he's like, oh. And then Vanita talking to Sally. Vanita goes, you are or you aren't trying to be with Craig? And Sally's like, yeah. And Vanita's like, you got to give me a little bit more respect. And then we have like some like 80s rocker. No, like something. Craig is dressed up like an 80s rocker and Austin is dressed up like Harry Potter. And Craig's like, you told me, Austin, that you were jealous I was single. And Austin's like, I never said that, bro. And Craig goes, you're not happy. And Austin goes, here you are, tearing people down, Craig, you dick. You dick. And Charlie's like, oh my God. And that is the end of this week's Southern Charm. Bapa-doo, bapa-dee-dee-dee. Listen, I think on its face, you might think this was a really boring episode, but I really weirdly enjoyed it. Rebecca was just like, oh, they're just such a mess. They're just such a mess. So next week, Rebecca will be here to recap Southern Charm with us. So, you know, you only have to put up with me right now. Anyways, have a great rest of your weekend. Come to the Patreon Live if you're a Patreon subscriber. And that's it, man. I love you guys. Have a great weekend. Bye.